I love living life on purpose by giving, helping, and serving others. And if you are like me, you might feel like taking care of myself, taking care of yourself is selfish. And instead of self care, you might be thinking that it's better to use the time to help someone else. And if that is you, or this is you years back, or you're afraid of that, afraid of being judged, of being selfish by taking care of yourself, even a little bit, tiny bit in your consciousness, you are not alone. Most people who are kind and giving and want to make an impact into the world might have accumulated burden, that there's something wrong about spending time for ourselves, that we're indulgent and whatnot. And I get it. The pendulum on the society right now is like moving too far on the other side, and it's all about me, 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 me. But between that side of the pendulum and the other side of fully self-sacrificing with no care for ourselves, there is a third way. There is another way where we can encounter and really connect with ourselves and really regenerate so that we can keep on giving. So if you're feeling guilty and undeserving of self-care, even then you know that this might make you feel running on empty, or who knows, maybe you're thinking you're never going to run on empty. This episode is for you. And I'm Dr. Ioana Popa from Team for the Soul, and I bring this unique blend, which I love: science, psychology, spiritual care, and ancient Christian faith. So join me on a weekly Renewal Nuggets, this oasis in the midst of action, where my hope is to help you regenerate and renew from many perspectives, body, mind, heart, and soul, on a daily basis through a rhythm, so that you can keep on giving for the betterment of humanity. For me, there's nothing more beautiful than encountering people who want to live a life of sacrifice and giving in whatever avenue, whatever vocation. There's no limit to what we can do as givers, right? It could be entrepreneurs, leaders, educators, caregivers, parents, and just beautiful human beings in our society. You might be working on computers. It doesn't matter where you're working, but you have a heart for giving. So for me, this is the most precious thing. And if you're like that, you're my people. I'm here to help you, because for me, this is really meaningful. And I love helping people so you don't burn out like I did twice in my life. And guess what? The world needs more people just like you to be inspired to give, to be inspired to self-sacrifice, and in the same time doing it in a sustainable way, in a joyful way, so that you live and you can inspire others, and people will look at you like, I want what you want. I want to be just like you. Self-sacrifice can be an invitation to a joyful life, not a life of grudging and suffering and tiredness, but a life of joy. And that's what I want for you. Now, we might have a self-sacrificing part that might be burdened through conditioning from our lives, from generations. We know now about epigenetics. There's a way we transmit our behaviors, our conditioning on a genetic level. And that is what can bring us to burnout. And if we just give, which is amazing, without replenishing our inner bucket, so to speak, in time, very slowly, we get irritable, we get stressed, we lose interest, we lose that joy and zest for life. And sometimes we might become not pleasant for people around us. And this can lead to burnout. And when we reach burnout, vocation then becomes just a job. And then we might decide, well, maybe I'm not supposed to have this vocation in the first place. Someone might give us an advice, you know what, maybe you're not good for this job. Maybe you should reconsider your job. Maybe you should change. Why change? Maybe your vocation is beautiful. So it might be just the way it's not sustainable at this point. And that happened to me. I've changed and shift jobs, and I'm blessed by that. I've changed many vocations, many roles, many hats. And a few times I did it because of burnout. In time, it became more of a search for my own vocation and what I want to give to the world. But I remember a distinctive moment when I felt so burnt out, when I said, you know what, I cannot do this. I cannot be a psychiatrist anymore. And I quit. I quit and I became a teacher. And that was fantastic. But I haven't changed my internal patterns. I haven't changed my internal way of being. And eventually I burned out of that as well, because I was giving, giving, giving without replenishing. So, what could be the solution? Many times we think of the solution from a more of the effect as opposed to the cause. We look of what's happening in our lives, and guess what? There's so many programs online. There's so many courses. I'm not the only person talking about burnout here in this online space and how to regenerate. And many times imagine a screen at the movie. Remember those times when we used to go to the movies? The movie was happening on the screen, but in the back, there is a person who is projecting that on the screen. Many times we see the effects, we see the things around us, we see the screen, and we try to change. Oh, I'm really tired. I'm going to go to a long retreat. Oh, I'm really tired. I just need to exercise more and then push myself to exercise. Oh, I'm really tired. Oh, I need to sleep better. Let me get some medication for sleep or whatever. I'm not saying that those things are not helpful. All I'm saying, it's more of the periphery, it's more of the effect, it's more of the images on the screen. We keep trying to shift whatever is the effect already. But if we step back a few steps, we go back to the source, that person who is projecting all this, in other words, in our inner world, who is driving the bus? Who is driving our giving all the time and self-sacrificing all the time without allowing us to put a break to regenerate? This is where we want to stop and really consider the beliefs and the stories that we're saying to ourselves. And like you've seen in the previous YouTube from last week with the interview with Dr. Tom Holmes, he talked about his internal work with his self-giving part and how internal family systems is using that and how he uses spirituality to release some of those burdens. And today, what I want us to bring is to reflect this idea that from multiple perspectives, regenerations and renewal is crucial. So we are befriending our self-sacrificing part, who might be saying, it's bad for you to stop. It's bad for you. You are egotistical. You are self-centered if you take care of yourself. So I'm going to bring for perspective really quickly from a scientific perspective, from a biological perspective. We know we are finite being. The way we don't blink twice thinking, oh, I need to drink water, I need to eat today. Guess what? It's the same for our emotional needs. We have not only bodily needs, we have emotional needs, we have intellectual needs. So the more we regulate and the more we take care of it on a daily basis, the more equilibrium we have. There's a fancy word used in medicine. It's called homeostasis. So we maintain our rhythm, our equilibrium on the body level, with sleep, with water, with food, with exercise. On an emotional level, this is from a psychological perspective. We know we have emotional needs to be seen, to be loved, to be appreciated, to love, to connect. And also on a thinking level, we're curious beings. We want to learn. We want to find out the information. We want to learn from other people, and we want to create as well. So knowing our needs helps us stay in this state of homeostasis. So this is from a psychological and scientific perspective. So when we take care of ourselves, renewal and regeneration is essential in order to function properly. I think very mechanistic. It's like a car. We need in the car to change the oil, to put gas, to take care of the car. We don't think twice about it. It's the same for us. From a spiritual perspective, what I really love is this idea that what we actually give, we don't give from ourselves. We give from the higher self, from God, from the divinity, from the higher consciousness. We are the vessel. So when we stop thinking that it's me making all this amazing impact into this world, and we realize that it's actually we are a conduit, we are a vessel that allows that flow. So we're connecting with the divine and allowing the divine to work through us. When we're in tune to that, regeneration is not selfish. We're just like plugged into the divine, like we plug our computer to the electricity and allow that to work through our skills, through our profession, through our vocation, through our preferences. And from a ancient Christian faith, from a Christian perspective, I want to remind us that even Christ, which I love, he's just a wonderful model. And even him went to the desert to replenish. He helped his community, was healing, feeding them, and then he went to the desert and replenished. And no one, I would argue that no one could say that Christ was selfish. So following in his footsteps, following in the footsteps, if you are from a spiritual perspective, or if you're a scientific or a psychological perspective, I want to invite us to continue to regenerate. And I want to bring this one more research, that psychological research, which I love. I used to teach a class about self-care for helping professional, and I used this research as one of the foundations. I use also internal family system and other ways of thinking. But Dr. Thomas Kofholt, in the Resilient Practitioner book, here it is, the Resilient, the light is not that great. Okay, the Resilient Practitioner, Dr. Thomas Kofholt and Michelle Trotter Matheson, they talk about the cycle of caring. This is the idea that we need to start, we prepare for giving, there's a process, whatever we do, and then we have to remove ourselves from it to separate, and then we need to replenish. And this cycle of caring is necessary in order for us to regenerate. So he's bringing the psychological perspective to this. Now, in my 6 months online program, the Renewal in Action, I bring all those tools together to create a routine from the morning, midday, afternoon, and evening so that you can regenerate on a body, mind, heart, and soul. So with that, the more we acknowledge our limitations, the more we acknowledge and take care of our needs and our imperfections and take care of ourselves, the more regenerated, refreshed we are, the more interested and joyful we are to keep on giving, and we can inspire others. So we have double the impact. We can keep on giving and helping others in any way that you are meant to give in this world. And in the same time, you can be an inspiration. So others will look at you, will see your joy, will see your energy in helping others, and they will want, I want what you have. So with that, I will leave you. And thank you so much for this shared space and time. And until next time, I will say goodbye for now.